Now.
Welcome back to the coverage of Euros weekend. Yesterday we saw the top 8 playoff, 8 of the most consistent players in Europe punch the ticket to Worlds. They are going to Berlin in August, and today we got 1,900 players in the main event. Some of them even played yesterday, except for Jonas Koschel. The other two, Joshua Schmidt and Raphael Nevin, are actually here to crush some dreams, kick other people out of competition so they have an easier time at Worlds. And then 1,898 players basically still have a shot at also going to Berlin. 4 out of those many players have a chance. We got 2 players here in our feature match that are still undefeated. You know one of them 100%, the other guy you know if you are familiar with the Belgian local scene. So let's bring him in first. That's Elias Truyens. And we do have some Belgian fans here. The Outpost guys, they've been standing for like 3 hours, so I have to give it up to you guys. So how is the tournament going for you so far?
Especially well. I'm doing great, I'm having a blast, so yeah.
So is it going better than you expected, or did you prepare really hard for this?
Much better. I didn't have that much time to prepare because of work, so I'm really amazed I'm doing this well.
Okay. So now you're playing in the feature match. What is that like? Are you nervous about the feature match, or you think, yeah, I got this?
I'm freaking out, man.
Well, you're not looking like you're freaking out, so at least that's working well for you. All right. So do you think that's going to play a role because your opponent has been in the feature match before?
We'll see about it. I'm just here to have fun.
Actually, the underdogs have very often upset the veterans of the game here. So please have a seat. His opponent is known as, and I have to read this, Vladis Baranovskis, or as everybody else knows him, Vlad. Hey.
How are you doing, Oliver?
I'm good. How are you?
I am very good. I haven't really slept because one of my housemates, or not housemates rather, the people I was staying with, was sleep talking. Shoutouts to Darren.
Sleep talking?
Sorry, sleep shouting.
Sleep shouting?
Yeah. I think he was just getting floodgated in his dream or something.
And I heard stories that he's now out of the tournament, you're still in.
Yeah, he sucks.
So he basically ruins your day, or at least your night.
Yeah, exactly.
And then he drops out of the tournament. Wow, what a friend, yeah.
I let him stay in my house as well before.
Okay, but it's going very well for you. Obviously you came prepared. I mean, I would be surprised if you said, yeah, I didn't really play anything. I guess you're happy with your tournament. What was your goal for the weekend?
My goal for the weekend's maybe win a round of Top Gun in my life, maybe once, maybe twice, that'd be nice. Going to Worlds would be nice. Yeah, that's basically like my current aspirations, essentially.
Yeah. Is there like a blockade or something in your head, like a mental blockade when you say you almost always go to the tops, but then you get kicked out?
I don't know. At UK Nationals, I'm pretty sure I misplayed in top 64. I'm still not like entirely sure. But a lot of the time it has just been unlucky. At YCS London in top 32, I played against Bowden, who was playing the Danger FTK deck, and I was playing another FTK deck, the Gem Knight deck, the best deck of all time. And then he won the die roll, so he won the match, which kind of sucked. And then in YCS Milan in top 32, in game 3, my opponent has 2 copies of Lancia, so I just can't win. So it's been a bit unfortunate, but I need to try again this
It's
year.
a story of bad beats. Well, let's see if you're gonna break the streak, so to speak, today. So please also have a seat. So I don't know exactly what you guys are playing, but there's a chance that the die roll is going to be very important here as well. Please perform the die roll to see who goes first. That is 7, very average. And Lad's got a 5, so you can decide who goes first.
You can start.
Oh, okay. You let the opponent go first, gentlemen. So with that, the stage has been set. We did a bit of rotating with our commentary team. Now we're back to where we started. Danny Neville and Marcello Barberi.
Hello and welcome back. We are now in round 6 of WCQ Utrecht. The stakes are starting to get high. These players are both 5-0 going into this round, undefeated. They are looking to go undefeated throughout the rest of this day. Like, that is always the best feeling when you finish day 1 being like, hey, look, I can drop a round or 2 tomorrow morning and still be fine. Like Ollie said, we really know Vladis from a lot of matches, even recently.
Absolutely, like Vladis is the madman, really. Like, he usually plays decks that no one is expecting. He got known mostly for the Gem Knight FTK, which he piloted to quite some successful finishes.
He got 2 YCS tops with it, I believe.
Exactly. And unfortunately, as he's saying, we recently saw him a couple of weeks ago together at UK Nationals.
Yes.
Where he actually went undefeated throughout Swiss. He won 10-0.
Yeah.
And again, as he said, unfortunately, he keeps losing the first round of Top Cut. So.
For sure, but I think he's one of these players who is often ahead of the curve. At UK Nationals, we saw him on Thunder, and now at this event, we see Thunder is the most represented deck. And then here, we see that, again, he has shifted to a deck which seems to be performing very well for him. I have not seen anybody else playing this.
I actually like the choice a lot, and our players have the headphones, so we can tell you that Vladis is on Infernoid.
Yeah.
So a deck we have not seen for a lot of time, actually. The last time, I believe it was, honestly, one of the...
It was like a year and a half ago that
Yeah.
Infernoid was really big going into national season when Striker was about, because you could activate your Layer of Darkness and then you'd be
Absolutely.
able to tribute like their Striker links and
Yeah,
stuff.
and honestly, I think outside of like the Infernoid deck, where like Zodiac was in the format,
Yes.
like we didn't really see like very good performances from the deck. But actually, there's a lot of new tools, because all of the new like Trap Trick, for example, works insanely good in the deck. Being able to search Void Feast, which is
your power
so
play.
good. Yeah, if you don't get ashed on a Void Feast, it's usually game over against most of the decks.
Yeah.
Also, the field spell is unbelievably powerful.
Yes.
Like the field spell, Layer of Darkness, of course, says that you can tribute also monsters that your opponent controls, and they're all treated as darks. So that means that you can
Once
use
per turn
all
you
of
get
your
a tribute.
yeah.
And also it summons tokens to the opponent's field, which is going to be relevant here because we see
Exactly.
Elias is playing Sky Striker. He won the die roll and opted to go second, which is clearly going to be setting off warning bells in Vladis's mind.
Absolutely. There are very few decks in this format that blindly go second in game one, and the most expected is actually Sky Striker. He is actually playing Anthrop, so it's very smart on him. We saw at the beginning of the format, like Sky Striker going second without Anthrops. Now Thunder Dragon is just so popular that you need. And he is playing the Gamma package alongside evenly matched in the main deck. I think it is going to be an interesting one, because like
For sure.
Vladis is also relying on Mystic Mine.
Yes,
They're-
exactly.
They kind of both are, so in this kind of matchups, it is weird. Also, I think for Vladis, this is not the matchup he wants. He's not particularly unhappy with it.
Yeah.
But like the really good thing about Infernoids is the DD Crow part, and
Yes,
that's
which doesn't-
so good against the other decks
Yeah, exactly.
like Salamangreat or Orcust.
That said, the players are ready, so we will get over to the match and we will see how game one goes. Okay, so Vladis is going first here. How conscious do you think he needs to be of something like evenly matched, or do you just play your hand out and hope that they don't have it?
I mean, evenly match isn't the most obvious one, but I'm actually curious to know if Vladis also wants to go second, honestly. Like, his deck seems like he could be built to go second. He's obviously doing fine while going first, especially here. He has
Ooh,
both
that's
the
nice.
Lilith, yeah. And he also has access to Void Imagination, I believe.
Yeah.
He has a pretty good hand for going first, but you can see he also drew into his copy of Gamma, which does work if you have a Lilith, to be honest.
It's a good card. Being able to guarantee what you want is good. And he is able to go Metaverse Trap Tricks. So, I mean, this means that he can guarantee Metaverse, or else he can have the flexibility with Trap Tricks. So he's not giving his opponent the information that he's on Infernoid.
Yes, right now, honestly, you would expect probably a burn or any Mystic Mind strategy,
Yeah.
which would be very good for Sky Strikers, I think.
Okay.
But now,
The cat's out of the bag.
yes.
I think we might know what we're playing against here. But at the same time, many players just aren't familiar with the Infernoid deck at this point. We see Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring coming down. Vladis activates his Cyframe Gear Gamma, which is really nice. He does play Cyframe Lord Omega in his deck, which
Yes.
means he is going to not only get to Synchro Summon, but he will also be able to take
Such a
another
blowout.
card out of Elias's hand. And of course, Omega has nice synergy with the Infernoids. It lets you return them from your banish to your graveyard. And then additionally, it removes itself from the field so that the level condition of them isn't an issue.
Yeah, that is because he can't Omega because of the restriction, I believe,
From
the
Void
Void Management. Otherwise, it would have been even more brutal, but he cannot really complain about this. So, very good opening by him. The trap trick actually can get him quite a few targets in his deck. He's playing one on a card that we also have not seen in a long time, which is Paleozoic Dynamiscus. It is the one that is basically a Raigeki break that banishes.
Yes.
And we have seen it actually in Salmon Great as well, just as a tech card can out Mystic Mine.
Yeah, exactly. And it lets you deal with Mystic Mine in a very flexible manner because it can hit Mystic Mine or it can hit Thunder Dragon Colossus. Lots of really nice targets for it in this format. We see the Decatron summoning off Void Feast, and this is quite good because it means Vladis has points of interaction against his opponent's deck. We see Mobilize Engage, and that could tell you that it is either Orcust or Sky Striker, but I don't think there are any Orcust lists in the format aiming to go second. So, you know, at this point, Vladis knows he's against Sky Striker, and he will have to play accordingly.
Absolutely. So now, where do you try to go from here if you're Elias? I don't think you even expected at all to be playing against such a deck. Like,
yeah, so he's getting Dynamiscus. It means that he'll have a point of interaction. He can clear the multi-roll if he wants, and I think that's the best play that you have. He is going to struggle when the Sky Striker Ace Ray comes down because it will be able to impact the board.
Are you surprised at all that he didn't send Deviati with like one of the Decatrons? Or the Onunku?
Yeah, I am surprised that he didn't go for Deviati and Unku.
Like, I don't know why you would send... I guess it is better to bring back from the graveyard Stitch Others, but now an Engage is picked up from Area 0, which still gonna make things complicated for Vladis.
That's quite an upsetting result.
Indeed.
You know, you really don't want your opponent to be doing that. Dynamiscus coming down, getting rid of that multi-roll.
And also banishing is quite relevant in this matchup since
for sure
you really need the 3 spells in
Yeah,
there.
exactly. Denying the third spell is really big because now if he wants to get a third one there, he is going to have to summon Ray, go into Hayate and attack.
And this is where I'm getting skeptic, because if Vladis would have sent a different Infernoid with the...
So I think it might have
Decatron.
been correct in that instance to tribute the Decatron and banish one of the spell cards to guarantee denying the draw.
But
of the
then
engage.
he would have had the replay to still attack over the second one.
Sure.
So now you can do it,
Yeah.
which does make sense.
You banish engage here. You could banish Ray if you wanted to, but he'll be able to bring back a large Infernoid monster on his next turn, which, okay, he is going for banishing Ray.
I think it might say only monster. Are you sure it says also spell traps? Let's check anyone really, like...
Yeah.
So... Yeah, it is cards,
Yeah,
so...
target one card.
It surely would have been better. So...
I mean, he still will have the monster on board to be able to banish the spell card, so he can make Elias commit to activating the engage, and then he can banish the spell
this
from
is
grave.
absolutely true. You don't need to activate it right away, so maybe Elias doesn't see it, and here is where Vladis will actually do this.
He's thinking on whether or not it is worthwhile to do this. The problem is that if he commits the resource here, then a Shark Cannon is a really big issue, because I think he only has...
And also, you really want to wait for the Kagari to hit target, I guess.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
You don't really want to.
It's a very tough situation.
Yeah, you're just basically relying on whatever card Elias is gonna draw not to be relevant. I'm very surprised here that he picks that, because like I think you really want to force the Infernoid so that your Kagari is free to go.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, I would always be searching multi-roll off that engage, or alternatively Eagle Booster. Okay, so he's getting rid of the second engage, and again, if a multi-roll was searched here, Elias would be in a much better position, I think.
Yeah, I think he was a little too fast with his searches, like
because he has the he has the Hercules base, so he would be able to equip the Hercules base to the Shizuku, activate multi-roll's effect to send it to the graveyard, so he'd have one spell that's recurring, and he would also be able to yeah, he would be able to recycle his Kagari as well.
But now we see the best part of Vladis' deck. Even like he puts up a bunch of negations. When you get rid of all of his monsters, he still has a grave full of Infernoid monsters,
Exactly.
which he can bring back for such blowouts, honestly, because both Onunku or Deviati are literally Heavy Storm or Dark Hole. So
Yeah, for sure. And additionally, a great thing for him here is the fact that they summon by effect, or they summon by condition as opposed to effect. So, you know, you banish the cards and it immediately summons, as opposed to
Absolutely.
banishing as cost.
and now we are gonna see the
Anunku is
coming down.
destroy all
Monsters. But-
and negate a spell or trap card.
Exactly. They have also a relevant effect, which is the second one. Also important to say that they are not effects; they are inherent summons.
Yes,
so,
exactly.
They work very well, even against Abyss Dweller, I believe.
Summons that do not start a chain.
Oh, and the
that's
Ash Blossom is here.
And if he had
'cause-
summoned the Deviati here, he would have been able to guarantee the resolution of the Void
But
Imagination.
that was the problem. He didn't send the Deviati in the first place with the Degatron. I am not sure why he didn't. It seems like it would have been very good to do.
He has one in his graveyard, according to our list. So he had the option. He currently has no cards in hand, so this is not a good position. The Sky Striker deck is going to start
It's,
generating that
really not.
advantage.
And now it is back to him. He only has the Onunku, which we can bring out for you guys. You're surely not familiar with it. As we were saying, he can tribute itself or something else to negate a spell and trap and banish it, which is quite important. So
Yeah, Anunku was part of the first wave of Infernoid support that I believe we saw in Secrets of Eternity. Not until we got Decatron was the deck really able to do a lot, but Decatron was such a massive power spike that it went from being just kind of this casual deck to being a real part of the meta.
absolutely. And now, where do you want to go if you are Elias? Honestly, I think you're in a really good spot. You just have to try and manage it, I guess.
I mean, I am on Protect the Castle. Multi-roll is my win condition. Just keep that alive as long as I can so that I can protect it. We see Anunku negating the multi-roll,
Yep.
which again is unfortunate. It's not a position he wants to be in, and Anunku is going to come back on the following turn as well.
But he didn't use the Shark Cannon yet, did he?
He does have a Shark Cannon set, yes.
So he can actually use it there, but he has to use it preventively. So hopefully he will do that.
I mean, the problem is he has to do it ahead of time, and then Vladis still has Deviati in his graveyard
if
as
he has
well.
enough Infernoid monsters, though, we should check the
He
count.
currently only has 3.
Yeah, that's why
so-
he doesn't even have enough at the moment. He needs to top deck something, and if you banish it, then that is not even an option.
For sure.
And Void Feast is very powerful, but at the same time, it gets like 2 Decatrons out of your deck, so the good top decks are also limited. The best one probably being a Second Imagination, which is basically the Shadow Fusion for Infernoid.
Yes.
It is such a powerful card. You get to send that many Infernoids from your deck. It's actually one of the best going second cards of the format, I would say.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, draw go is what Vladis is saying. Realistically, even if he drew something like Mystic Mine, he would be able to just start slowing the game down a little bit. Oh, he's after drawing Mystic Mine. So he's banishing his 2 large Infernoids to be able to summon, I believe this
Sejet?
is... Yeah,
Or it's a Saitmas, which is the one that can actually banish a card
Saitmas.
after attacking, which is a really good one as well.
Yeah, I
It's,
mean, when your opponent has no Ray in graveyard, you're going to get to beat over their monster and then also remove their area 0, reducing the likelihood of them kind of seeing that final multi-roll.
Do you think it makes sense to just not flip the Shark Cannon there? I think...
I think I would blind Shark Cannon for sure.
Because the
but-
thing is, you deny any play from Vladis. Like, he cannot summon the big Infernoids anyway, but like, if he top decks an Infernoid, then he would have been able to, and at the same time, if he doesn't draw an Infernoid, then you're denying even the Saitmas. So I think Shark Cannon should have been flipped there.
Yeah.
But we'll see if in the end Elias is able to do it. I do not believe he's playing the double or nothing combo, which we have seen previously today.
Yeah. A cute thing that Elias can do is he can save the Shark Cannon until there is... until he's very far behind, and then he can Shark Cannon Lilith and use her ability too set and evenly matched to his field. But he's able to find the final multi-roll, which is going to be really big. It lets him recur his striker cards and definitely puts him in a strong position. He has the Shark Cannon now, which will be able to work with the multi-roll to get striker cards back into circulation for him. Vladis is after banishing the Kagari. He's clearly decided that it has the most impact on this match.
Yeah, even though we should say that in this matchup, yeah, as you were saying, Kagari is like kind of a weird card. Like, you don't mind it being limited, I would say, in this matchup, particularly while you do miss it in more of a grind scenarios. But
yeah. So end phase, we see the Shark Cannon being set off multi-roll, and then Shizuku is going to activate. Yeah, and he's grabbing Widow Anchor.
Usually go for the greedy Shizuku here, so.
Do you not think it's right to Widow Anchor to Shizuku and then set the Widow Anchor and the Shark Cannon?
That's what I meant with the greedy one, but I mean, his thinking is fine. And honestly, you can see here what we feared would have happened before. Yeah. Like, Mystic Mine is not very good in a Mystic Mine mirror match. It's like actually the only card you don't want to play. And Vladis is drawn into his one copy of Mystic Mine.
And a Twin Twisters off the top for Elias.
It wasn't even needed, to be honest, but...
Well, he had no way to clear it otherwise.
He had the multi-roll, though. Because, like, if you
multi-roll
sure,
he
away
can clear his
master,
striker, but he doesn't have access to Ray, and he already has one banished and one engraved.
Yeah.
So you can make the striker player run out. We see Solemn Judgment blocking off the Twin Twisters, which means Vladis is protected here. Again, the multi-roll can be used to send a Shizuku, but in that case, you need to draw a Ray.
Yes, and this is what happens here. He thinks he can win on top of it, and I don't mind his decision. Like, Vladis is only sitting on 1,000 life points, so there is a chance he's just able to win.
I think he is just top decked in Area 0, which will be game as
yeah,
Vladis
but
doesn't
I mean,
have interaction.
I think that was right, because like Vladis is gonna pick up his cards, so like Elias takes game 1. But what I meant is there wasn't even a Widow Anchor set, so Vladis wasn't winning anytime soon, and to win he needed to commit into an Infernoid. And at that time, you just take it and you win with the Infernoid it gives you. So I think it was well played by Elias. And now we're moving to the side decks, and it gets quite weird for Elias, I would say. He didn't expect this matchup. Luckily for him, he did win game 1.
Yes.
And now, what do you think he's gonna side in?
I mean, there can be only one is quite strong against this deck because it stops a Void Feast from being able to put impact out. Additionally, Artifact Lancia has good coverage here because it prevents the Infernoids from summoning themselves. You do have to preemptively do it, but...
Yeah, this is one of the main reasons that I would say can keep you away from this deck, because as we repeatedly said, Artifact Lancia is the most sided card now for a month, I would say.
Oh, it's been over a month at this stage.
No, months, yeah.
Yeah. Because, I mean, back in Dusseldorf, we saw Pankratops just being everywhere, and once mine came in, Pankratops said farewell. We've seen him popping up a little bit. He's in Vladis's side deck, and he might bring it in here and just shotgun second.
For sure.
It's possible that we're just going to see every single game of this match just being, you go first. No, you go first.
It is quite of a unique match, I gotta say. Sometimes you just see players, I would say most of the times, players that just want to go first. But there are these kind of matchups where you actually just want to go second. We usually see it against Invoked.
Yeah.
But I think Vladis' deck works very well when he's going second.
Yes.
The imagination got so good against Sky Striker.
Exactly. You have the impact of imagination, and as we're both aware, like, Striker really loves that 6th card, and that's why the going second lists of Striker are the kind of greedier lists, right?
Yeah.
You sacrifice the fact that if your opponent's able to set up, you know, you can't do as much unless they don't set enough. In which case, you can start getting 2-for-1s. So against Thunder Dragons, the going second builds definitely struggle. But going against Solomon Great or Orcust, going second striker is really well positioned because of the extra card. Without the extra card, I think we could see a position where Elias potentially only has like Shizuku Go. And on any of those weak striker boards, Vladis is in an excellent position.
Absolutely. And you can see now we are just waiting shortly because in Vladis' deck there is actually the Deviati, which were released in
Battles of Legend?
Yes.
Yeah.
Which basically there are a few misprints on the cards.
Yes.
There is actually
I
it
think
should
the
be ultra rare.
The American printing has secrets, right?
Yeah, it's basically a prismatic secret, I would say, something along those lines, but it is perfectly legal. It is just, of course, something that the judges maybe have never seen before, and you can't blame them. The card is supposed to be an ultra rare, so they wanted to make sure that everything was fine. It is. So we're quickly gonna see a game 2 here.
It's a very snazzy misprint to have.
It is a very cool one, and Vladis usually travels to the US, so I'm not surprised that he has those copies.
Yeah, I think he's been over once or twice at this stage. You know, he went over for Chicago and was helping Raph with the Lunalight deck when they were over there. So he's clearly getting about for his Yu-Gi-Oh games, but we'll have to see if he is able to beat Sky Striker in this match.
Okay, do you think he's going second looking at this end?
He's
not.
he's
Okay.
not. Okay.
It does side into Heavy Storm Duster, and to be honest, there are only a few ends that actually beat the Void Feast openings. Even though, like, Ghost Ogre is kind of relevant in this matchup, like, for both players, I would say.
This hand is broken.
This hand is absurd.
It's insane. Having the Layer of Darkness means Vladis can deny any striker card he wants. He can even tribute Ray for cost, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, this hand is looking absolutely insane from Vladis. He also has protection from Evenly Matched.
Yeah.
Because Decathlon can just send the Onunku. So looking very, very good. And you can see probably why he is 5-0 at the moment. So
Yeah. Oh, that's not what you want to
rough
see.
one, yeah.
There's two types of striker players. There's the players that draw engage off engage, and there are the players which see engage off area 0.
I mean,
but you can only do one.
In game 1 he did so engage, so
yeah,
he's
he saw
kind
a lot of
both.
engage.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I just need to get better at the game.
But okay, now Vladis decides it is time to use the Void Feast and the Twin Twister is chained to the other backrows. Smart move because he will not be able to use it later on.
He's
due to
going
the
to
Onunku.
Metaverse.
So Metaverse is chained, and to it, he's thinking about using the Storm Duster on the field spell.
I think you can Storm Duster to field spell here. I don't really care if my opponent has the extra ray.
Okay, he doesn't do it, and now he will be able to resolve both. With Metaverse, he's probably just adding a second copy. Or is he heading in? Okay, he's heading into the...
Void Imagination. Or
No,
Void
I mean-
Expanse.
Yeah. Void Expansion, which we will try to show you in a moment. But now he can try to resolve the Decathlon, but very unfortunately for Vladis, he drew the one Infernoid you don't want to open, which is the Sujet, yeah, which you want to summon because it's the only one that allows you to summon both Decathlons. And here, he also is met by the Widow Anchor, so...
Which is quite unfortunate.
Quite a
so
rough
he has
one.
added Void Expansion to his hand, which means Layer of Darkness is still on the field. He gets to tribute the Hayate as cost to banish the Sky Striker Ace Ray, and he will get a token in the end phase.
Yeah, still brutal play just because of how Layer of Darkness works. You can tribute your opponent monster and you are gonna give them a token, which usually is not that good against decks, but against Sky Strikers it is actually even an added benefit. So we have seen like people going back and forth on Black Garden, which is basically a similar concept. And here you don't get any like downsides from Black Garden. You actually get even an additional bonus effect. So
Yeah, for sure.
and it top decks into another Decathlon, which is just
That's what you want to see.
the nail in the coffin, I would say.
There are certain cards that when I see my opponent summon them, they kind of send a shiver down my spine. Decathlon is definitely one of those. It just has so much power behind it.
Yeah, and you can see now how Lancia is actually not even nearly as impactful as it is against Orcust.
It's doing nothing here. That's the thing. If Orcust is playing the way that the design would suggest it plays, then Lancia would be great. But when Orcust is able to go Void Feast, 3 monsters, 2 negates,
Yeah,
suddenly
I also... Yeah, go ahead.
Lancia just doesn't do as much.
I was thinking, like, Lancia is, of course, powerful enough, but in this matchup, to be good, it really needed to be able to discard it during your own turn as well.
Yeah.
Since you can only use Artifact Lancia during your opponent turn, it gets a lot worse. But yeah, Ash Blossom is picked up. It's gonna be 1-1 here. We're gonna see a game 3 with any one of these guys going first.
Could be anyone.
Yeah,
they could be
really.
doing anything. Do you think that Lancia is perhaps kind of almost a trap side deck card in this matchup where players look at Infernoid and they're like, that's a deck that banishes, so I should bring Lancia in, when it's actually not very impactful?
It could be a reason why Vladis is actually playing this deck, because I would probably bet that anyone playing against Vladis is siding on the Lancias in. To be fair, we saw like a different game in the previous one, where like there was a moment in which Vladis' field was cleared, and if you drop the Lancia there, it would have been very good, because it denies all of the Infernoids in grave. So I do not hate the card. It is just not as powerful as Orcus, but I mean, you can't blame it. Like,
yeah,
it is just that Orcus completely focused on that.
Sure. Orcus definitely struggles a lot more, and I think the big difference here is that while banishing can be important for the Infernoids, like, it's not what the deck wants to be doing. Everything that Orcus is trying to achieve is achieved through its banishing effects. Like, even Galatea wants you to have banished cards so that she can get you cards. Whereas here, with the Infernoids, if you have a bad hand, you need to banish to summon, sure. But with your good hands, you don't need to banish. And most of the banishing you're doing is, like, banishing cards from your opponent's graveyard.
Yeah. I guess it is very good against a few cards, like the Void Imagination. So against that card, I can see it being quite relevant, but outside of it, it's probably not as good as in other decks, I'd say. Because Sky Striker, as we repeatedly said, is not like that good at killing you, unless, as we saw, is playing the Utopia double. So if you Lancia, then you're only really getting a turn. So
For sure.
Who do you think is gonna go first here?
I think Elias is going to go second, so I think he'll make Vladis go first. It's hard to tell. I still think it's better to go second in this matchup.
It is probably, but he just got punished for it, so let's see what happens. Handshake is there, and they drove through their cards. Doesn't seem like it is a fantastic hand from Vladis, so it would be very bad if he was going first. But I'm seeing that there can only be one, so maybe Elias did choose to go first. Both drawing Ogre, so...
There's a lot of Twin Twisters going on here, and it's about to get windy. You know, it's spells and trap cards flying everywhere. It's funny when you open double Twin Twisters, because it's effectively like opening double Mystical Space Typhoon.
It is, kind of, yeah. So now, Elias was probably scared by the last game, and he decided to go first instead, which is kind of surprising. And it doesn't seem like there can only be one is particularly impactful either. Like,
no, I mean, it's good against Void Feast,
and
but
that's about it.
Layer of Darkness +1 Infernoid monster just tears apart your field.
Yeah.
Like, because you can't even Widow Anchor to stop it, because they tribute his cost.
You can see Vladis being slightly disappointed that there is no multi-roll. That's the best target for the Ogre. Well, for now it is gonna stuck in his hand. But now he gets...
Oh, that's a nice pickup.
Yes, Void Imagine. It's such a good pickup here. Banishment is able to actually search for the Imagination. So, very good pickup. Now, where does he go from
going
here?
To see Ghost Ogre coming
Twin
down
Twister or Ghost Ogre can come down here, and this is gonna hurt a lot. Luckily for Vladis, he has the Lilith.
Yeah.
Otherwise, his hand would be completely garbage, honestly.
Yeah, it's a rough hand. He's probably just going to set heavy Storm Dusters this
I
turn.
think now he's gonna get punished heavily by the Twin Twisters in the end phase. Not looking good for Vladis here.
And these are the sort of hands which are very unfortunate. We've seen Vladis open his level 6 target for Feast 2 games in a row. Taking the Feast here is very interesting. He really wants to be hitting the trap tricks.
I think it doesn't really matter, because here the only play you have is actually Feast, discarding the other Feast you have in your hand. So you want a trap trick for Feast, and it is the only play you have available at the moment. So that's why we are not going to see a Feast being set from Vladis. We're just going to see the Duster being set, and the Twin Twister here is going to be so brutal.
Yeah.
Oh my. Is he not going to go for it? That would be crazy.
I mean, you have double engage in hand.
Yes.
I think you just always Twin Twister here because you're going to get so many spell cards.
And now Vladis is completely blown out by this. You're going to have double engage. Only one engage maybe?
Maybe he just doesn't like drawing cards. I can understand keeping the Twin Twisters to have a bit more flexibility, but being able to resolve 3 engages into one turn is a lot of value.
I mean, maybe he's thinking he just lose to some random shenanigans card from Vladis, so it makes sense that he just keeps it. I think usually you just want to resolve as many engages as possible, but this still looking just like Elias' game all the time. He even picks up an Ash Blossom in case Vladis... I don't even know what Vladis could be drawing into at this point.
I mean, realistically, he needs to be seeing some Void card that he can attempt to... Well, I mean, with the Twin Twisters in play, it's not going to do anything here. We're going to see a multi-roll search most likely because it's a valuable card. Does Dyna Wrestler Pancratops help out here?
The problem is at the moment, Vladis needs a way to stop his opponent, with the Ghost Ogre being the only useful cards on the multi-roll. But then he also needs a way to play. So if he picks up, as you were saying, for example, the Pancratops, which is not a bad card, how do you play though? Like, you're not going to win the game with the Pancratops. And the problem is that, sure, Elias might have just gone for triple engage, but he kept the Twin Twister.
Yeah.
And now the outs from Vladis are even less because of that Twin Twister. So maybe at the end of the day, Elias was right. And
yeah, I mean, it's paying off for him here. Vladis says, I have Ghost Ogre. Your multi-roll will not resolve. So he's in a slightly better position now, but he only has a Void Feast in hand, and that's not getting him anywhere against this Twin Twister.
Not at all. And
top decks an Infernoid. He only has one Infernoid in graveyard though, and that is Sistemas, which requires 2 Infernoids to summon. On the
play
side,
goes back to Elias.
Yeah, Elias does not have pressure here because he is only dealing 1,500 damage a turn.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Vladis at least is getting to try and draw outs, but every turn that this game goes on, Elias is able to start just drawing deeper into his deck because Shizukus are effectively allowing him to draw 2 cards a turn to Vladis's 1
Indeed.
card.
And you can also go for a Yade, like just sending cards that you don't want to draw into, making yours even better. Also, if you're not drawing into engine cards, you're most likely going into like Anthrops. Are you surprised at all that he actually kept in Gammas going first?
Seems odd. I'm kind of surprised by it. I guess it punishes Infernoid monsters if they tribute your Striker Link.
It does work, so maybe it is actually one of the better cards, and he might replicate what Vladis did to him in game 1, where he actually gammaed the Ash, so...
Yeah. I mean, potentially it's the case that he just doesn't have anything better than Gamma to play in the main deck.
I mean, it is not a matchup you are used to play, so it makes sense that we could see some shaky things here. But once more, looking very dominant. He gets the Hercules base, which, to be honest, I'm even surprised that he kept in this matchup. since there are so many banishing and okay.
Extravagance.
But
That's
the
what you
Ash
want to
is
see.
still
Next
there,
to
so
Ash Blossom.
yeah, extravagance must feel nice from Vladis, but as soon as he sees that Ash, I'm not sure if he's gonna continue this game.
Yeah.
Let's see the reaction from Vladis here. Ash is dropped.
You can see him
Yeah,
very
quite
disappointed
the disappointment.
with that result.
He's gonna be forced to pass. Doesn't wanna give it up. Honestly, there is no reason to. But the multi-roll is actually drawn here. The last one, so multi-roll is gonna be able to work well with Hercules base.
Yeah.
Doesn't place it in the same column, so
Sure.
nice.
I think it's really in a point where it's going to seal up this game. Playing the Hercules base face up seems kind of risky because you leave it more prone to things like Cosmic Cyclone.
I'm okay with it though. Like honestly, you know your opponent knows that you searched it, so you want to get the additional spell in graveyard. And if they have Cosmic Cyclone, then they're probably just Cosmic Cycloning the multi-roll anyway. So
That's true.
now we're gonna see the third Kagari of match, and let's see.
Such a strong card for Sky Striker, and it's amazing that even with this card at 1, Striker is still just carrying on.
He gets back the Hercules base, which is
Infinite Kagaris.
which is something
The dream.
that we are not seeing
He's still
often.
not ending the game though.
It seems like he's toying with Vladis at this point, to be fair. And he does set it just bluffing in case his opponent decides to destroy it. The last Shizuku, which actually is not the last Shizuku, because more copies were shuffled back. It's the field, and I really don't see a way for Vladis to get out of this, especially because there is a second Ash Blossom in Elias' end.
Yeah, that is a massive problem for him. I think we only have things like Afterburners. Eagle Booster is a target for Shizuku here. Yeah. And this is the point where Elias is after drawing multiple extra cards from Shizuku effectively. So it doesn't matter that Vladis is still in the game. He's going to be able to summon one of these Infernoids from his hand here.
Yeah, but it was definitely not what he was looking for. In his head, another Extravagance was probably the best draw, but we knew the Ash Blossom was still there, so I'm pretty sure we're just gonna see the game end on the next turn.
Yeah, for sure. On the other hand, like, both of these players are undefeated going into this round, so this is by no means the end of the tournament for them. So Vladis has really tried his best here, even in such a terrible situation. He's sticking true, which is always great because he was trying to find the out. Like, if he drew the Extravagance and there wasn't an Ash Blossom to answer it, he would have been able to get back into this game. And this is kind of just a slow burn of playing against Sky Striker. This Kagari should be relatively large at this point and should actually be able to put out damage.
Yeah, now he doesn't need to get back the Hercules base. This Kagari has done enough for the match.
Yeah.
And it will seal it very soon. So
Jamming Waves destroying the Void Feast. He elects not to destroy his Kagari, which I think is a very good play here.
oh yeah, I mean, it does help sometimes.
I mean, sometimes you just feel inclined to destroy your own stuff. It is sometimes the correct play.
It happens from time to time. So that is revealed, and I think Vladis will scoop it up because now he is just able to go for double Sky Striker Link, which means this is enough. Handshake, Elias takes the game. The crowd goes crazy for him. A lot of support for this Belgian player. Let's go back to us for the post-match discussion.
A really excellent game there. I mean, we saw both players playing great decks, very different to what we've been seeing in the field. You know, this is the first going second striker deck that we've seen all day. We haven't seen any Infernoid. Who was expecting Infernoid at the European Championship? And clearly we saw they were both very powerful. All of the games were very neck and neck.
Indeed.
Vladis was very unfortunate that games 2 and 3, he saw his level 6 Infernoid, the one-of copy.
This is Jet, but I mean, overall, I think it was definitely an entertaining one. Elias' strategy makes a lot of sense to me.
For sure.
You guys should know that I love like going second decks, especially Sky Striker, and I do like that he changed the twist. So he still has the Mystic Mine, but he's playing a large event like the European Championship. He thought, you're gonna play against some rogue decks, let's put evenly in the main, and you're also gonna play against some combo decks, so let's put like 8 or 9 entrops in the main deck, siding even more. So I think his deck looks very solid. He's 6-0 at the moment. Very good chances to make it into the top 64 tomorrow.
Yes.
So hopefully we will see more from him. But I gotta say, not being biased, but I want to see more from Vladis. This deck is so cool. Yeah.
I mean, we missed out on a lot. Like, we didn't see Extravagance ever resolve for actual cards because, you know, Infernoid, again, it's one of those decks that just flies under the radar, and when it's good, it becomes amazing. Like, being able to resolve Layer of Darkness and then starting to just tribute your opponent's cards to clear their graveyard, very, very strong.
It is, and unfortunately, as we said at the beginning of the match, Vladis had the worst matchup. Like, if this match would have been against the Orcust or Salamangreat, I think he would have teared them apart.
Oh, against Salamangreat, being able to say, hey, look, that's a nice Sunlight Wolf, it's in the graveyard, and I just banished your Spinny.
Exactly.
Like, what more do you want?
I think Vladis' deck still looks very good. If he doesn't play that many rogue decks, I think he has solid chances to take it all down. And he also has some cheese potential with like the one copy of Mystic Mine in case he plays against
Void Feast is also pretty good.
Oh yeah, it is.
I believe Ollie is ready to do the post-match interview, so we will hear from Elias on how the deck performed and how he ended up with it.
That's exactly right, Daniel. Thank you very much. Here we are on the main event stage with Elias. And you're the newest recruit in Team Outpost. Is that what you got for winning this feature match?
Not really. The problem is we have a shortage of T-shirts in our team. So like we are with 12 people and we've got like 7 or 8 shirts, and not everybody has a shirt at the moment.
Normally teams have more T-shirts than members. Why do you?
We do.
Okay, right. But what a match between you and Vlad. It was a back and forth. I actually saw you both side decking leading up to the final duel, and you both were exchanging pleasantries. You had a really good time. So is that correct? Did you both have fun?
Yeah, we surely did. Because I played the deck for a really long time myself, so I know the in and outs who are talking about how people don't know the deck and can't play against it.
Yeah. So for you, the element of surprise didn't really work for him. What do you think about the deck? Why didn't you play this weekend?
It brings way too much. It brings way too much.
Yeah, some people actually said on the chat, he's got so many bricks he can build a house at this point. And in the end, it looked like that was what happens. But you must be happy with your deck choice.
Yeah, I'm very happy with Sky Striker.
Yeah. If you could change anything about your deck at this point, I mean, we've already been playing 6 rounds. What would you change? A card in the side deck, extra deck, or even in the main deck?
No, I think it's fine how it is right now. I'm really happy how it works.
Okay, so far every card is putting in the work for you, and the cards that didn't yet, you are confident that they're going to be coming in later. So you're already 100% in day number 2. What is going to be your goal going forward? I mean, you made day 2. Are you now saying, okay, I have to set my side a little bit higher, I need to get to the top cut?
Try to not open a Hercules base every duel.
Okay.
I opened it 6 times today, and 2 times I opened Driver, so yeah.
But every streak must come to an end. We call it the curse of Anubis normally on the coverage. Even the people that go undefeated in Swiss, they end up very often getting kicked out. But we're not going to hope that's going to happen to you. So it's just a little advice. All right. So if anybody is interested in playing in the Belgian community, because you guys always seem to have a lot of fun, even though you don't have enough shirts. What's your advice for them? Where should they go? Where can they play with you guys?
Antwerp is a really good place to start. We are a really friendly player base. Help us cheer out a lot. Also, Ghent is a really good place to start. Good players over there. So surely check those places out.
Right. And we're going to check out that city later this year, of course, when the YCS is coming to you. Are you guys excited about that?
Yeah, I surely am. It's like a 30-minute drive for me, so...
Okay, so... That's an easy to get to event for you. All right, well, congratulations again. We'd love to see you again in the feature match. With that, guys, we're signing off for now. We got some pre-recorded contents for you, and then we're going to be back with round number 7, the second to last round that we're streaming today.
mates into the Duel King and teach me. Exodia, the forbidden one. It's in my possession now. The duel is done. Yo, wheel, don't you understand? It's not the man in the fight, it's the fight in the man. Yeah, now I'm the master of the duel. It's been my pleasure to beat you. Oh, let's go! Welcome, welcome, welcome to the world of Yu-Gi-Oh! Into the world we go. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the world of Yu-Gi-Oh! Welcome, welcome, welcome to the world of Yu-Gi-Oh! Into the world we go. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the world of Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yu-Gi-Oh! Battles of Legend, Heroes Revenge! New heroes arrive on the scene alongside popular cards from many Yu-Gi-Oh! Series. Discover powerful Link monsters and continue the search for more numbers. 5 cards per pack, each pack sold separately.
Welcome back to an exclusive feature in between the rounds. We actually recorded this on Friday already. And I found a player, Moritz. Hey, long time no see. You're one of the old schoolers, basically.
Yeah, more or less, yeah.
Well, I mean, 10 years is also old school. It's
Yeah, it is here that way, yeah, it is.
It is, no worries. You don't have to be playing the game for 20 years to be an old schooler. 10 years is already enough. 20 years is veteran.
Yeah, I started playing when I was like 16 years old, and now I'm 31, so yeah, 15 years.
Time flies. So 15 years, not too bad. All right, and you are playing Madolche this weekend. How does someone end up with Madolche?
I saw a deck feature online, and I used to play Madolche when it was introduced initially in the game, and I find it's a very interesting deck, and now they received new support, and I was all like, well, I could try again and play it. The deck that I play is very much inspired by the deck feature that I saw online, and I adjusted it a little bit for my needs and for the meta game.
Was it a deck feature